Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. My name is Shante, and on today's episode we have Start With Yourself by Emma Grede, a new vision for work and life. So let's get straight into it. Born in East London to a single mother, no one would have expected Emma Grede to get where she has today. One of the world's richest self-made women, a serial entrepreneur, co-founder and CEO of Good American, and a founding partner of Skims, podcaster and mentor. So the reason I wanted to read her book, and I have, is because I listen to Emma's podcast and I really enjoy her podcast. Love all the guests that she have. I love her honesty when it comes to working hard and business, etc. I wanted to read her book because she is from East London. From what she's described, she never came from money. She's worked extremely hard. Yes, she's had some advantages along the way, but I don't feel that takes away from the fact of how hard she has worked to get where she is today. I actually do recommend her book, especially if you you've not read any like other business books before. I think she has some really good points. My only thing I would say, and this is nothing, I wouldn't even call it a critique per se, it's more that a lot of the principles she talks about in the book I have read before, and that's just because I've read a lot of business books. A lot of what I've read has also been said by Emma. That's not a bad thing at all. In order to be successful, you will need to have a certain mindset and work ethic. So that's nothing bad, but that's just my own experiences. One thing I will say though is the books I have read have not been by one of the world's richest self-made women from London who is black. I really enjoyed Start With Yourself, A New Work and Life. I think it was very interesting to learn about the journey for Emma, how she started from East London when she was a child. So she speaks about her childhood and how her mum was a single mother, how she raised her sisters, and just growing up, and how she didn't go to university. She just worked hard, and yes. So the first chapter I enjoyed, which I want to speak about, is her chapter on trade-offs. And the reason I want to talk about it because she recently did a podcast with Victoria Beckham, and she was talking to Victoria Beckham about trade-offs. And I believe if you want to be successful, you want to go far, you're going to have trade-offs. Most of the time your trade-offs are time. You don't have enough time to do everything. Down here she says you can do all the things, you just can't do them all at the same time. As Michelle Obama said to me, it's impossible to have it all, so stop with that. I agree with that. I believe you can have it all, but not at the same time. So there has to be some trade-offs. So we have a quote here by Warren Buffett where he says, "We don't have to be smarter than the rest, we have to be more disciplined by the rest." Another part I liked of the book was her section on career, where this talks all about mindset and learning, constantly evolving. And she says, if you go into every encounter with a beginner's mind, believing you have much to learn, you will. Again, 100% agree. I think it goes down to that saying, you never want to be the smartest person in the room. If you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. But I just think it's all about you're constantly needing to learn. Education does not stop with college or university. You have to keep growing if you want to be successful and the best version of yourself. The world is constantly evolving, which she talks about in this book. You've got to keep up. The only thing you need to continually cultivate throughout your life is curiosity, the belief that there's more for you to learn and plenty of people to teach you, and that you can't be complacent. I 100% agree. You cannot be complacent. It's so easy to become complacent, especially in life. Here we also have where she says, I also urge you to move past the discomfort of asking a million questions. Think about your career as your opportunity to study and learn with no graduation in sight, because the world is constantly evolving and shifting. Your skill set must expand and grow to keep pace. You have got to ask questions. You have got to want to learn. If, for example, you're in your career and you want to get to a certain position, speak to that person in that position, whether it's your manager, someone else's manager, etc. How did they get there? Learn from them. want to learn from them, want to grow. You're going to have to want to grow. You're going to want to know, expand your skill set. It's really, really important, especially in the world now and how fast everything is moving. You have got to constantly keep evolving. Ask those questions, put yourself out there, of course, if you want to succeed. The next section I quite enjoyed was the first page of where she talks about family. We all need to fall in love with ourselves before we can properly love anyone else. We all need to love ourselves to feel like we deserve more. To quote Diane von Furstenberg, the most important relationship you'll ever have is the relationship you have with yourself. I think that's really important, about loving yourself. I believe there's a saying where they say, how can you love someone else to their full potential if you do not love yourself? So yeah, I think that's really important. The next part I like, the little section she said, is if there's one thing I want you to take from this book, it's this: use failure as an opportunity to grow and get bigger, better, stronger and smarter. So she does talk about some of the failures she's experienced. If I can remember correctly, one of the failures she speaks about is when she first launched Good American. They didn't anticipate the success and they sold out within a couple minutes or whatever, and they had no stock. As someone who's failed many times in life, I use it to understand, okay, what went wrong, what can I do better, what do I need to do better, and it honestly makes me so much stronger and better because I'm learning from my mistakes. So yes, whether in business, work, never look at failure as a bad thing. Look at it as something you can use to learn from. What did you do wrong? What can you do better? And the last bit I am going to talk about is her chapter on building a brand and business. I really like this section. I feel like not many people talk about competition that much, so it was quite refreshing to see it in her book, where she talks about when you're working on a business, you always need to learn from the best. It's important to recognize that you have a lot to learn and that you can go to school on other people's successes and their mistakes. So in this section, she talks about Levi's. So Levi's still today is the absolute pinnacle in the denim space. They are the most successful, best-in-class version of a denim brand. I look to them to learn all the time, even now. I don't do this to replicate their business or merch plan. I do this because comparing my companies to other companies helps me define and differentiate what we do. It offers shortcuts, but I don't need to replicate mistakes or obvious failures. Because many of my competitors are 100-year-old at scale brands who have achieved mastery and are clearly operating with best business practices, it's safe to assume their choices are predicted on data and deep research of their customers and the space. They are not flying by the seat of their pants. And then we have here where she says, you need to be obsessed with your business and its competitors. You can learn a ton and they will help you differentiate your offering. Now, as she said, it's not about copying or replicating. It's about learning what they are doing, learning from their success, learning from the mistakes. I really enjoyed the book. Start with Yourself, A New Vision for Work Life, Emma Grede. Like I said, it was very refreshing to just dive deeper into her journey and her mindset, especially as, like I said in the beginning, she is from East London. She is one of the world's richest self-made women, and of course she is black. So yes, I'm going to leave that there. Really enjoyed her book, and I'll see you lots in another video. Bye guys.